Hello, welcome back to Nonsense. Today is a special episode for the 12 people that actually watch this channel, for I have a guest, because apparently somebody out there actually has interesting stuff to talk about, something I currently lack.
Hello
Uh,
there.
so I'll just, I'll just let them start talking about what plants? You wanted to talk about plants?
Yes, as you probably may have noticed, this planet is inhabited by very many different things. Some of these things just happen to be non-moving and generally with access to some of photosynthesis, like plants. Are you aware of plants?
I think I am aware of plants.
Good.
I mean, we have different plants,
Would you say that plants are
many plants.
scary?
Well, I don't think the earth plants are scary. They just sit kinda in the sun.
Yes, and that is indeed what most plants do, but that doesn't restrict them from being scary. I've gathered some examples. Say any number from, let's say, 1 to 8.
Let's say four. Four. Good middle number.
Good. Um, do you know what the ocean looks like?
Sure, big blue expanse of mostly nothingness and a bit of trash.
Yes, and now imagine that thing being completely scarlet, poisonous to all human life, and to most sorts of fish, and rapidly approaching you.
Okay
That's
then, this
that's
sounds like a blood moon.
that's what an appearance of red tide algae looks like. Um, there are many different kinds of algae in the world, and some of them just so happen to use a different color than green to photosynthesize. One of them being red. Now, there are many types of red and brown algae, but red tide algae is interesting in that it is poisonous and that it spreads quite quickly, and that during some weather
Huh.
conditions it gets washed up on the beaches, meaning that the tide that comes is in fact colored red and quite toxic to human, which gives it the name. Um,
It literally looks like a sea of blood. Like just the entire
well,
ocean
it's
of
it's
red
more.
matter crawling
Thankfully, it's
onto the
more
beach.
translucent, but it's way more dangerous than blood because while if you wash yourselves in blood, you may be well, potentially cursed, but otherwise just mostly unnerved and slightly sticky after that. Oh, and maybe the blood may harden depending on what sort of blood it is, but that doesn't matter. If you wash in a red tide of algae, you're quite likely to get poisoned and or paralyzed. And since most humans can't
That's
breathe water, if you get paralyzed while in the water, it's not a good thing.
Okay, that's well, this is already
Yes,
frightening, but you said there was eight examples. Okay, let's have one that's like not in the water, not in the water one.
yes, good. We will have that is one that is not in the water. Mangroves. Ha ha ha. Do you know what mangrove trees are like?
I can imagine, these like kind of sprawling lots of leaves and vines like hanging down from the leaves, those sorts of things, right?
Well, I mean, most trees have leaves, but yes, but okay, mangrove trees are specific in that they grow like mostly inside of water or inside of particularly flooded areas, and thus they have root systems that allow them to stay above water. Now,
Right. So yeah, in the list I have it's put down as mango mangroves, which
wonderful.
is
Um,
promising. Promising.
yes. Now, how normal trees reproduce by launching or like dropping seeds somewhere on the ground so that they may grow and flourish. Now, how do you imagine a mangrove tree reproduces?
Well, aren't there's like a couple of trees, especially like there's a specific birch forest which reproduces by like the roots splitting into trees or like
Um,
the branches fusing with roots.
yes. We'll get to that, but mangroves are even more weird. So mangroves can't actually drop their seeds because they will most likely drown. So what do? They get seeds, they grow them into saplings or into like small trees with root systems, and then they drop it. Which means that by the time mangrove seeds are ready to drop, they are basically small wooden daggers that may fall on you at any
Oh
point.
my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Meaning that
Man,
in during sometimes shaking a mangrove tree may not only result in some branches and leaves falling on you, but also in the tree shanking you.
okay then. This is the most British London suburban streets tree I've ever seen. Also, doesn't that make mangroves the live birther of trees? Like
Well,
they
yes,
make
yes,
their offspring like into a fetal state where it's basically a baby and then drop it.
yes. They are
That's
basically the giraffes of the tree world. They have long legs. They drop living kids, and then the kids somehow still live.
That's amazing. I love this. God, there's more. What's the dragon's blood tree? Sounds
Ah,
pretty
yes,
cool.
the dragon's blood tree. This isn't as much of a horror as in you will die story, but in horror as in what would you think if you saw it? Um, Imagine you're in a pretty wide, pretty hot area, and you see a big tree with some shade. You go up to the
Okay.
tree, and then one of the branches crumbles, uh, and the tree starts leaking blood out of it.
What the actual fuck?
Yes,
I think I'd stop taking drugs
the
if
the
that's what I
dragon's
do.
the dragon's blood tree is called the dragon's blood tree because it has a resin that is very very vividly red, and that has been believed to be blood because it is also red and also hardens and also has medical applications. Now, what's also interesting is the folk tales that have come to explain why there is blood in a tree. Um, some folk believe that those grew from the remnants of buried dragons,
Hmm.
and thus
Interesting.
they have
Like,
their sap has been harvested for mythical and medical applications. And what is
bless you.
yes, thank you. What is also quite interesting about them is that they due to being due to being harvested a lot, they aren't very that common now because many folk harvested them and took them and so on, which means that if it is indeed the case that dead dragons were locked inside of trees, we are now currently removing what little was left of dragons, which means
Huh.
that not only are dragons extinct, but the remnants of dragons are extinct. Or nearly extinct.
That's that's frightening. This really shows the ways that humanity will go for
Oh,
just a little bit of mythical power.
yes. Among the follies of humanity is the tale of the populous trees. Now, many of you probably have seen populous trees. They are quite widespread as decorative trees in cities. They grow quickly. They have soft wood. They're quite easy to plant. They're quite handy. Um, Except that they aren't. In the summer, populous trees are wonderful decorative trees that could be used in any city and are still used in many cities as decorative trees. They just have one really big problem, that being that in the summer they start sending out small tufts of wool to spread the seeds.
Oh, these are the true, like, aren't there so many in like Moscow or just in big
Yes.
cities in general? They pick up all of the dust, and I've
Yes.
seen this before. This is one that I've actually seen before, and before I knew what it is, I saw like it's just a big wave of like just white. It's like an actual cloud, a dirty cloud moving towards you, and you suddenly start sneezing
Yes.
more than you've ever sneezed in your life, and you're like, what is this mystical force?
Yes. And do you
I,
know what's the funniest about the sneezing? It doesn't matter if you're allergic to the populace themselves. because they pick up every single possible pollen and dust particle on the way. So if you are allergic to anything that the populous tree may have encountered on its path, you will in fact be allergic to the populous seeds.
Amazing.
Which means that because humans saw a fancy tree, they now have an omni-allergic tree sitting in most major cities.
I hate humans.
What's
You people are disgusting.
what's even better is that not all trees send out the seeds. Only specific branches or only specific trees send out the seeds, because well, not every flower buds into a pouch of seeds. Um, and normally it would have been able to remove humans would have been able to remove the branches which spread the seeds, which would have made the trees infertile, but they're supposed to be decorative, not productive. The problem is that the way many folk do it means that just the gender or the type of adjacent twigs changes. So
Huh.
it's a bit like a hydra's head of allergic clouds.
That's extremely. I want to strangle the person who brought populous trees into the world. I want to strangle Mother Nature.
About
Okay.
strangling, Mother Nature wants to strangle you. Um,
Amazing.
Specifically, Mother Nature is quite good at strangling plants with other plants. There's a lot of different plants that focus on strangling plants with themselves. But one that sticks out in one part of them that sticks out in particular to me are the cuscuta plants. These are an entire group of plants, and they are like small climbing green lines that may grow on some plants or trees or whatever. There's a lot of climbing plants like them, but those are quite interesting because they connect to the inner system of the plant. Those are climbing parasites.
So, like just parasites, but they climb.
Yes, and visually it looks as if a plant has been ensnared, and biologically it looks as if a plant has been ensnared and then its life force has gotten sucked out of it.
Huh.
Now, these are harmful to plants, but some climbing plants are harmful to everything. As an example, kudzu plants. Now, you may have heard about kudzu plants. If you didn't, you're about to
Yes.
hear about them. I will tell you. Don't worry. Kudzu plants have wonderful small flowers. They are edible. They grow quite well. So they've been brought to the Americas from Japan and China as a decorative plant. Imagine this. You bring a plant to your home, go out grocery shopping, visit some friends, come back in 3 days, and your house is a giant green hill of overgrown with bushes. That is because the kudzu plant is incredibly good at growing, incredibly good at climbing, and incredibly good at spreading. There are entire miles and miles and miles of area that have been entirely consumed by kudzu plants. The one funny thing about kudzu plants is that goats love this stuff. One of the best ways to combat kudzu is to send a goat at it.
Like, I imagine like some sort of comic strip of just like the kudzu has taken over the world, humanity's last resort, and there's just like bombers flying over the kudzu plants, dropping goats onto it.
Ah, yes. Goat
Right.
warfare.
Goat warfare. I think goat warfare is a good place to end off for now. However, our list isn't ended yet of frightening Flore, as my guest has named it,
Yes.
and so possible part two, return edition, get some more plans, talk about them some more. Very, very possible. But for now, my time for today is up. So as always, goodbye and farewell.
Goodbye.